Okay, we're live. Hey, everybody. It's a Wednesday afternoon. I think it's Wednesday. Crazy busy week, but I'm doing a lot of live draws just to get ready for Comics Camp coming up, starting this month, starting next week, actually. Comics Camp 2020. I'm doing it all online, merrickbennett.com/comicscamp. So that's going on, getting started. And I'm testing out all my different systems, doing some live draws. Yesterday, we penciled and then inked a complete couple characters from our Comics Camp Clubhouse. Today, I spent the morning out on the back deck, penciling out a scene, and I'm going to ink it with you. Sometimes it's nice to have the scene penciled so we can really focus on our inking. And these were some characters from the Comics Camp Clubhouse, this treehouse headquarters that we drew last week at a patron live draw. And these characters are now, I don't know half these characters. This is me, right? These are some monsters here. That's pencil, that's ink, that's erase, and some various crazy critters. I know these mice, I draw a lot of mice, but most of these characters I'm meeting for the first time. I'm just meeting them in a live draw. So today they kind of all wanted to jump out there, and they're marching here. They're out there on parade. Now, they're not socially distanced, clearly, but they are all going to be wearing masks. So my characters do want to make sure they're protecting all the characters around them, being safe in these times. So let's see, where do we begin with this is an 11 by 17 cardstock page. I just got it at a local office supply store. I like cardstock because it's nice and thick. I've got my thin line flare felt tip pen and my thicker chisel tip watercolor marker from Blick. These are good workhorse drawing tools. They're very cheap and easy to get. So I recommend them for young artists especially, or if you're starting out on comics. I think I'm going to start here with my marker, and I'm going to do this banner. There's a bunch of characters marching from left to right, and there's a big banner here. So I'm going to start with the banner. And this banner is going to be thick, bold lines here. I don't know if you can see my pencil lines all that well because I pencil super lightly. I want to be able to erase things and go back and make changes. There's a little character up there. You'll see who that is when I get to inking it. They're helping hold up this banner. So the banner droops and goes up like that. And I think I will put this banner's message in thick black lines. If you see nothing else from this image, you should see what my characters here all agree on. They all agree that this is a good thing to march for. They might not all be the same. They might not all agree on everything, but they are all marching under this banner, all my characters. All right. Initially, when I penciled it out, it said, they misspelled it. Whoever these crazy critters are who made this banner, it said Justus. And I had to say, wait a minute, guys, you really want to go march out there with a typo on your banner? We all agreed it was kind of funny to have that kind of a typo, but they went back and fixed it. So we'll do these poles popping up through the top of the banner there, popping up through the top. Can even sort of tie the banner on, handkerchief style. All right, my first characters. I think I'll draw my characters with my thin line pen. I could go back and thicken those lines if I want to. First character is this Mama Kitty here, holding this side of the banner. And of course, she has a mask on. I realized one thing, though, when I drew this first character is with a mask on, you can't see if somebody's smiling. You can't see, at least if their eyes are cartoon dot eyes, you can't see. So I realized I'm going to have to be extra careful to make sure my characters don't look too scary because these masks are not meant to make them look scary. They're out inspired, marching for something positive here. So there we go. There's actually a little kitten on Mama's back here. Here's Mama's other hand. We'll bring this arm around. Now I can bring this pole. See, I penciled this straight through as a line, so I know that lines up. So now with my inking, I can bring it down and put the bottom of the pole right there. And I'll bring Mama down here. A little belly button because she's reaching up high to hold that banner up high. Maybe some whiskers peeking out. Bring these lines to connect them. I'm thinking I'm not going to do a lot of shading on this. I'm going to keep these pretty open, cartoony characters. Maybe it'll become a coloring page or a poster. I don't know. At the end, I can scan it and put it out for patrons on the Patreon. There's a couple characters in here, so I can't quite draw the Mama's legs yet. Mama Cat's tail is going to be back in the crowd here. Next character I had marching right alongside him. This is what I said. This is a crowd of characters who may not agree on everything, but they all get together to support each other here. We have Masked Mouse waving a flag. And I'll put a little heart on that flag. So you know this isn't like a scary masked mouse. This is a masked mouse marching for love under the banner of justice. And there's a little mouse marching with that mouse. Maybe a younger brother or sister mouse. They're staying together here. And mouse's tail. Now I've worked in a bunch of animals here, but also some monsters, because I've been drawing a lot of monsters this summer. So here's our first monster. It is a Shaggy something or other. Put those eyes in there. Again, I'm doing those bubble cartoon eyes with a black dot and a white spot left in the black dot. That gives the eyes sort of a sparkle. I'll put a loop from that mask around a little horn there and on this side. And here's that foot of that monster. I'm not sure what kind of monster this even is. Maybe I'll do some more quills back here. Oh, you know what this is that I'm thinking of? I was just outside. I took a little walk before I started the live draw here. And I was walking in my backyard and my dog kind of barked at something. And I looked over and there was a porcupine climbing a tree. Kind of frighteningly close to my garden, but we'll see what comes of that. And my dog knows not to bother porcupines. But this is like a porcupine monster. They have those surprisingly long legs and feet that they grab the trees with. So maybe that's a were porcupine or something. So here's Rabbit. I wanted to work Rabbit into this because rabbits wanted to go outside and do stuff, but with the quarantine and everything, we've still been laying pretty low around here. So Rabbit was psyched to get involved in this inking parade here. I said, okay, you've got to wear a mask though. I like the idea of coloring these characters, and maybe if we color them, we could color all the masks the same color. Maybe that would tie all the characters together. Or maybe they're all different colors, but all like pastels or something that unites all the masks. This one might be one of those friendly witches I've been drawing the past couple of years that pop up in artwork every now and then. But she too is wearing a witch mask. Oh, but she's wearing overalls. That's kind of weird. Well, maybe she's a farming witch. And she has her arm around this. What is this one? I like these characters that you kind of discover as you draw them. I discovered them as I penciled them, but I'm still not quite sure what they are. This thing is like a big kangaroo dog thing. I like those characters when you come back to them and draw them again. and they've changed and they're doing something interesting. Those are the characters I want to work with in my comics. That's what we're going to look for in Comics Camp this year. We're going to find characters who surprise us and who do interesting things. Here, I'll put the Comics Camp website right there in the corner, my nice little fancy index card. Let's see. This is the kangaroo part of this creature. Sort of the long hoppy legs. Again, bringing this end of the banner down to about the same level as that end. So that ties it together. What is this thing down here? It looks like a little Uncle Sam costume doodlebug sort of character wearing a mask. That'll be interesting to see if that pops up again in any comics this summer. It's got like a top hat, 4 arms, 2 legs. That's kind of a fun, simple character to draw. I like those simple characters. Let's put a little centipede down here. So we drew these in a couple days ago in the Memorial Day Justice draw. Let's see. The flower power draw. That's what that was. So we'll give it a whole lot of legs, and it's undulating. Now this one was very peculiar because it's in goggles too. Let's see. Oh, because it's probably running so fast to keep up with the marchers. Let's see here. This is a mystery creature. Let's give it some stripes so that ties its body together there. It's like a little piglet mystery creature. Now I'm thinking once I've inked all this, I'm going to come back and do a shadow underneath them that'll help them pop up off the page. And then we can also do texture, like if this farmer witch here has a flannel shirt on, well, that's fine. We'll do textures like that later, he said, as he did it now. All right, I'll do this one now, just to see how it looks. And I can blacken the hat, or I can leave that to be colored. Now, what was this character who was, oh yes, a simple cartoon bird here. Let's give it 2 big googly eyes. I'll bring the top of the beak in front of the banner and the bottom of the beak behind the banner. So it's kind of pinching the banner. I'll even put some wrinkles into the banner there. And then we'll have, let's just have 1 foot grabbing the banner right there. These are the toes wrapping over the top of the banner. So we'll put a couple more wrinkles in there. And we'll put that bird's body, tail feathers, and the other wing on this side, similar to the first wing. There we go. I don't know if you can hear him. I have a cardinal right outside my window she's built a nest and she's sitting on her eggs out there. She's sitting right now looking through the window, looking at me drawing. So we have a couple people here on YouTube. Hi, folks. Good afternoon. And we have a cardinal right outside my window on that side, staring at me through the glass. So it's nice to have friends around as we draw. If you have stuff that you're working on, I'm doing these live draws pretty regularly as we get ready for Comics Camp. So if you want to bring your own pages along and draw, that's cool. We'll have some actual interactive Zoom sessions over the course of the summer. Let me put a mask on this character before I forget. There we go. We'll have Zoom sessions over the summer for patrons, especially on the Patreon. And if you go to the Comics Camp site here, you'll see where you can sign up for that. I've had a couple people sign up recently, new Comics Campers signing up to the Patreon. Thanks for signing up, folks. It's all about just spreading the word, getting together, making art together. It's going to be a really good summer for that. Really important that we keep creative and we keep our reading and writing skills going, and we keep drawing all summer long, and we'll have a lot of amazing stories at the end of the summer that we can share with people. I think this monster has really tiny arms here, like even tinier than Tyrannosaurus Rex arms. All right, so like I said before, I'm doing a whole bunch of critters and monsters, and they're all working together, marching in the same direction under an inspiring banner they've made. They proofread and spell checked it. Let's see, there are a couple small monsters in the front here. I'm not sure what this one is, but it's kind of cute and fun to draw. I like this tail. Everybody in this crowd is wearing a mask for safety. We'll put some scales on this monster. My goal when I'm done is to have a big page, sort of like our Comics Camp Clubhouse. I'll flash that again. We drew that a couple of days ago at a patron draw Friday night. Sort of like the Comics Camp Clubhouse. I love this feeling of all these different characters getting together and creating artwork together. So that's what this picture is. Here, this is the same feeling, but it's all these different characters getting together, marching together, and on the move. I like snakes who dress up nicely for events. That's another animal I just saw on my way in to do the live draw. I was walking down the trail with my dog, and there was a garter snake just crossing the trail. So some of these critters are inspired by what I just saw. So Porcupine Monster here, sort of similar to the porcupine I just saw out in the woods before I came in to draw. Garter snake, they're around too. This bird, it's not a cardinal bird, but it does have some face, dark bands on its face, just like the cardinal outside my window. But I'm cartooning too, so I'm not trying to draw specific detailed drawings. I'm just drawing quick ideas of creatures and monsters. This little one, when I penciled it, I wasn't sure what it was. Let's see what happens now. It's like a little person, but it's not a stick figure because it's roly-poly, but it's as fun and easy to draw as a stick figure. And it's wearing its heart t-shirt. Okay. Like I said earlier, it's with all the characters wearing masks, it's kind of easy to end up with characters looking a little scary or something. So I want to make sure that it's clear that they're not actually mysterious masked bandits or something. They are caring characters who are trying to keep all the other critters around them safe. And they're on the move. In this case, marching for justice. Any place there's a gap, here's a kitten tail. Any place there's a gap, I'll fill it with a little character. Even like, even in here, I just have a foot and there's a little room. Maybe I'll make like a little car with wheels. I'm just making this up as I go. I didn't even stop to pencil it. And a little goofy face and maybe some ears and a steering wheel. And there you go. There's a little character. I don't know who they are or where they came from, but they have joined the parade. And it's a nice little detail. Little details like that, your readers look at your big picture and then their eyes kind of move around and maybe they settle on some tiny little detail that you didn't even think was important. And yet, there it is. There was something, oh yeah, there was going to be coming through here some kind of paw. And it's going to be spotted. I'm not even sure what that connects to. We'll see if it connects to anything in the back there. But that was part of the design. Now we have the cat's leg here, and things can easily get confusing. So if it's a choice between drawing something that's going to look confusing and just leaving something out, I might just leave it out because I want it to be clear no matter what. Clear, yeah. Too late to be clear with this picture. This is going to be a chaotic ink parade here. Now, like I said before, also, I'm going to come in when I'm done and put some shadows down under all these that I think will pop them up off the page. Let's move back into the main body of the parade here. Oh, yeah. Okay. I remember this. So I'm going to come back and pencil somebody in here because here I have a gap where there isn't a face. I'm going to pencil like, how about a frog? We'll give it a round head, an eye on either side, and they can be holding up this sign. Should their tongue be out? No, they're not catching flies. Wait a minute. They need a mask. Put a mask on that frog. Look, these guys don't have masks. All right, those little ones, we'll just stay back from them. Put a mask on that frog. We'll put the leg like that. We'll put that frog on a skateboard. Okay, that's all we need, I think. Now we know that where that frog's going to go. You can always go back to your pencil, make sure everything's where you want it to be. Even still, I like to make changes as I ink. Inking without a tightrope when you don't have any pencil line and you just make a change. That's living life dangerously as a cartoonist. I'm going to kick this character's leg up to make it look like they're really running. I think they're a real running monster. We'll give it some stripes so it doesn't look too much like the frog in back there. The frog's sign is going to go like this. And it is a big rectangle here. And it is another affirmative heart. There's the sign poking up through the top there. I like to show that, because that really makes it look like a real sign in front of a stick. Let's see. And then behind this frog, I think we need another character in here. How about like a giant slug? Why am I thinking of amphibians and slimy things out in the garden? I'll just put a big slug like that in front of these two characters. I kind of like this appearance. Oh, I'm going to use my marker for this one. Check out this. I'll do a line across and bring two half circles down, and it's sunglasses. Just like our eye spots, we'll leave a little white circle in the upper side corner there to keep them shiny and glimmering. And then we'll bring a mask up over the nose. And then we'll give it ears, and then a big crazy mane. This was the lion I discovered as I was penciling this parade. But it's hard to tell what some of these animals are if you can't see their faces at all. So hopefully those ears and the mane give it away. If not, it could look like a monster too. That's why I worked some monsters into this picture. Gives me the leeway to fail at drawing an animal, and I could say, oh, well, it's a monster. This lion, I think, will have an arm raised, and in its paw, another flag. And this lion surprised me. It had a flag for peace. Peaceful lion. Maybe some dots. Maybe just the tip of a nose there. And marching with the lion was this. It started out like an anteater character. And I thought to bring her out from the characters behind her, she'd have darker ears around the top of her head. There we go. Let's see. She's probably chanting with the lion. There we go. And, oh, we're getting into the big characters back here. I kind of loaded up the front ranks with tiny characters because they ran out in front, and now the bigger, more ponderous characters are coming in the back. If it had been the other way around, probably you wouldn't see the small characters. Oh, that's why the small characters ran out in front. They just didn't want to get accidentally scrunched when the big characters came along. That's probably wise of them. Here's a standard level 4 monster. Long fur. A lot of monster experience here, you can tell. Also a homemade mask here. Doesn't want to be breathing monster spit on anybody as it's marching here. This one has antlers. I've never drawn a monster with antlers before. Oh, I know where these antlers came from. I went out walking yesterday morning on the trail. And I could see, I didn't hear anything, but my dog heard something. And when I saw her looking, I looked over and there was a deer just watching me 20 feet away. And we must have stared at each other for a minute straight before that deer ran off. So I got a good look right into its eyes, right into its face. Good opportunity for a cartoonist to study another creature's face like that. Total attention from each of us. It did not look like this monster, by the way. This just maybe the antlers are inspired by thinking of deer. This monster has skinny little hands. Open hands. Here's another one tucked in behind the lion. Oh, right above this one, I realized there's a little space there for a masked butterfly taking part in the parade. Now it's starting to feel like critical mass. It's starting to feel like a group. But what I really want to do here, I'm going to go off the side of the page with these characters. I'm just going to take them off the side. And then if I want to continue it, I could put another piece of paper on here and keep going. But if I don't, it'll feel like it started here and it trails off and never quite ends. So now we're getting into the really interesting part. Oh, there's a bunch of characters in here. There's that one. Let's see. Bunch of characters in this part of the march that are so close together, you can't really see who's who. It's a big tangle. They're all just kind of running to keep up. Oh, there's a crocodile here. And this was a real challenge. Crocodile's snout is so long. They really had to jury rig something kind of long to serve as a mask. And even still, there's some mouth open there. So Crocodile's hanging back and being extra careful, I guess. I'm going to give Crocodile a slightly dazed, silly expression by making the eyes look in different directions. Crocodile looks a little lost there. And that's our first character to go off the side of the page. Now, normally when I'm drawing my comics, I always leave a space around the edge of the page so my artwork doesn't get cut off when I scan it. But in this case, I'm going to scan it very carefully. And if a little bit of the crocodile got cut off, that's okay. I made sure the face and the most important parts were well in from the side of the page. 3 toes. It's a cartoon crocodile. Here's somebody else's foot. I don't know whose. There's a lot of marchers here. And at this point, it is a very confusing parade. This little marcher's facing in a different direction. Maybe they're looking back or looking for someone. I like cartooning because with a couple little strokes, you kind of create a whole character, a whole way of being. I'm going to just improvise another somebody's back in here. Somebody's furry back is walking past right there. I never drew the rest of my lion. Let's see. Originally, these two characters were holding hands, but there's a giant slug blocking that view now. So I think the lion's paw will come up here just so we can see it. Don't you hate it when a giant slug gets in the way of a nice picture? Well, that's the nature of cartooning sometimes. All right, so what's missing here? Oh yeah, the horse. Or maybe it's a mule. I never asked which one. So as I was penciling these, I was just kind of making up critters. You sort of say, who's next? And then you start drawing and you see what the shape looks like. And this one became a horse or a mule with a collar there and a necktie, some kind of jacket. So it very well dressed horse or mule. Oh, that's whose foot? No, that's not a horse's foot. That's a foot. That's not a hoof. I don't know whose foot that is. Here's a hoof. Here's an eye. Just like before, I don't know who that is. There's a whole bunch of critters tucked in here. Okay, we're getting there. We've got my biggest critter of the bunch here. Here's an eye. Here's another eye. And we're going to bring the head around here. And the trunk up and around. And at the tip of the trunk, of course, to keep from blowing trunk droplets on anybody. Very conscientious elephant here. Let's bring the bottom of that trunk around. I'm going to tuck the tusks curling up around the trunk here. So let's curl one tusk and another tusk. And here's one ear. I don't think we can see the other ear though, because it's off the page here. So this elephant is enormous, doesn't even fit on the page. That'd be cool. If I took another sheet of paper and taped it on here, I could draw the elephant and there could be critters riding on the elephant. Oh yeah, we could put another page here and another page going up, and we could build up a two-story parade or higher. So let's see. Let's finish the elephant first. I'm getting ahead of myself. Ideas come faster than art. I like cartooning because even as the ideas are coming fast, you can almost keep up with them. I'm going to do those texture lines to tie the elephant's head together with the trunk. It helps this whole shape look like a shape rather than just two curling lines. Giving it some texture like this actually ties it together. Oh, I like that. Maybe it's trumpeting. That's what this elephant's doing. And of course, you want to put a mask on your trunk as you're doing that sound because you could be showering droplets. Ugh. All right. There's a sign behind the elephant. Yet another. Maybe we'll put wings. I just saw the wings on this bird and I thought we could kind of echo those wings on a heart. That's like, I don't know, that looks like a prayer of hope or something. And there is a funny paw hand holding that sign behind the elephant's trunk. And that paw hand, let's follow it down to this creature. Oh, it's a creature with goggles. I like my goggle creatures. They're fun to draw. All right, so I have two circles connected by a line. I'll put a circle inside each. And I'll put my shining pupils in there. And we'll put a mask on. And then there's pretty much, you're not going to see the shape of this creature. So instead of shape, let's give the elephant a jaw there. So instead of shape, I'm going to show texture. And maybe this creature has like scales. For some reason, I'm imagining one of those like scaled sloth armadillos from prehistoric times. What are those called? I'll have to look that up. But there it is. There's scales in the background. And that texture kind of fills in the background and helps it look like it's full of critter. Because it is. That thing's huge. And then this arm, then we'll have to put scales on this arm. And that'll actually tie it together nicely. I'm going to let the scales hang off the bottom like that. See that? So the bottom isn't a smooth line, the bottom of the arm, because it's reaching up. That's kind of cool. Maybe this lion's mane needs to be a little longer, you think? Maybe like a little ribbon in it too. I don't know if you know any cartoon lions, but they do sometimes wear ribbons in their manes or heart glasses, things like that. Let's see, maybe I can fit another character in here. I'm just going to improv a couple little tiny faces. Little stick figures ready to go. Let's see, anywhere else we need another character? Oh, I see a couple feet down here that need inking. And this one, there we go. That's a little better. Let's see. Oh, the skateboard. Let's not forget the frog skateboard. I don't know if any readers will even notice something this detailed and small, but I'll know it's there. Helps me understand my characters. When we tuck a little tiny character in here. These are just surprises for very meticulous readers and colorers to find. If somebody decides to do this as a coloring page, it'd be a lot of fun. It'll look great once they're done. And they'll discover all these little secret characters in here. Maybe the lion, see how the lion's arm comes up like that? Maybe the lion's tucking somebody else, like a fish wearing a mask. I don't know. Why is that lion carrying a fish? I don't know. There's some weird surprises. When you send your characters out to improvise their own parade, they bring along some weird friends, I'll say, which is beautiful. Anything missing? I'm looking for blank areas that I feel like need something. Maybe just a single eye here. Some texture. I don't know what that is, but it's marching back there. Maybe like a tall character here. Maybe, maybe another little mouse riding on this character's ear. We can always tuck some nice little mouse characters in there. They like to help out, be involved. How about some mice up here? Oh, don't forget their tails. Oh, and don't forget their masks. Maybe we'll just improvise another little birdie here helping out. It's hard to know when you're done sometimes, but you don't want to overdraw a cartoon, says the guy who's filling up a page with crazy monsters and critters. You want to stop when it's fun and there's enough, not too much. So I'm thinking this is a good busy parade that's marching from one side of the page. They've almost reached the other side, and they could go on forever. I could tape other pieces of paper on here and keep drawing them. That would be a lot of fun. But for today, I'm going to wrap it up by coming in here and adding sort of a long shadow under all these characters. Under the smaller characters, I can do a lighter shadow with thin lines. Under the heavier characters and back here, I might get out my marker and make it dark. Oh, this witch's feet aren't visible, but bring that leg down. We'll also catch any places that we need to kind of fill in the blanks or complete something we haven't completed. I like using lines going, again, left to right or side to side, because all those lines kind of give the image a grain. It helps it look like it's moving across. If I did vertical lines, it would look more like it was going up and down, which I don't want for this picture. Oh, this one has its own dark shadow. That kind of lifts it up off the ground and helps it run. Same with this guy here. He's even hopping a little higher. If I bring the shadow down lower, he's hopping higher. Let's see, and here, oh, that car is going nice and fast. It has a shadow. In here, it's just lines. It's not pure black. Ooh, I like these lines, these horizontal lines making the shadows. They really help get things moving. And they make it look like there's more of a ground here too. Maybe I'll put a couple pre-shadow lines out here. Shadow hasn't fallen there yet, but there's texture to that ground. Now in here, there's so many critters. There's going to be a dark shadow under there. So that's where I'm going to take out go back to my watercolor marker, which I started with to do the thick lines of the banner. Maybe I'll start on this side so I don't smudge my ink with my right hand. Start on the left. And this will be black all around their feet there. Oh, careful, Merrick. I don't want to color over anything I've colored. You know, if you make a dreadful, dreadful inking mistake towards the end of a picture like this, don't fret it. You can always cut out a piece of paper and lay it over it and re-ink it the way you want it. There's lots of ways to fix this stuff. So in Comics Camp, that's one of the things we'll do every week. We'll do live draws with pages, looking at cartooning and looking at storytelling in panels. And we'll look at little tricks like how to fix inking mistakes and how to make your own mini comics books, how to keep readers reading from panel to panel, all these little tricks that artists do. And I'll show you how it looks in my work, and then you can practice it in your own projects. We'll do that all summer long, actually. By the end of the summer, we're going to be focused on self-publishing, making books. I'll show you how to do that. You could design and complete your own graphic novel over the course of the summer if you want. Or you could do a series of mini comics or anything you want to do. Or you could just get together and draw with us every couple days, really. So you can, let me put this up here, put it over here. So the Comics Camp info is at merrickbennett.com/comicscamp. I'm just mentioning that with every live draw because it's a good contact point. If Had some new signups, new comics campers signing up on the Patreon. That's the way to do it. Just join the Patreon. You become a patron. You get all the automatic updates. You can get email updates every time I post something. So you'll see all this work. You saw, if you're on there now, you saw the announcement go out for this live draw. There'll be lots more stuff like that coming out. I'm switching back to my pen. Oh, look at that black shadow. I love that. That really, it almost makes this look not so dark. So I'm going to go back to this. Let's put you over here. I'm also setting up some reading events. And again, Comics Camp is the place to learn about all this stuff and take part in it. I'm setting up some reading events for my new book. I just got these in the mail this week. They are new, the first ever copies of the Sharjah sketchbook, which is my sketchbook, my complete sketchbook from the Sharjah International Book Fair. So I hopped on a plane a few months ago and flew to the Middle East and went to Sharjah in the United Arab Emirates. And this is the story of what I did in this book fair, all the people I met and all the adventures in this book fair in the middle of the desert with 2.5 million people from around the world at this incredible book fair. I'd never been any place like this. So I just kept a sketchbook, and that's what this book is. And we'll have some events coming up. We'll have some events coming up that are readings of that. Maybe some drawing parties to go with it. We'll draw our own sketchbook pages. So many good projects going on, and I'm sure you have some of your own projects. So I'm going to finish up this inking. I'll scan this, put it to my Patreon. You can head on over there and get the printable if you want to color it. I'd love to see how you add color to this parade. And then be sure to sign up for the for Comics Camp on the Patreon. You can get there. There's links over at merrickbennett.com. And we'll be drawing stuff all summer long. I was about to say stuff like this, but it's not going to be, it's going to be all sorts of stuff all summer long. It won't always just be parades of crazy monsters. We'll have some stick figures, some eyeballs, some fantasy critters, some cute animals, real life auto-bio stories. Actually, this is real life, isn't it? This is how it goes. This is what's going on. Monsters and critters on the move. All right, I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to go see what kind of monsters and critters are out in my area. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been great to draw with you. Oh my goodness. I've met so many cool friends here, and I will see you over on the Patreon. Have a great afternoon, everybody. See you over at Comics Camp.